What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances need replacing fast, Best Buy has your favorite brands in stock and available now. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you, now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. Looking for something to add to your bucket list? Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fanatic and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever and whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download the Meta AI app, now available on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
What's worse than an ad interrupting your favorite music or podcast? That uninspired coffee you've been drinking while working, which is why Flavia is elevating your everyday coffee experience. Now you can enjoy cafe-quality beverages like coffee, tea, frothy lattes, and creamy hot chocolate made right in your home office, actual office, or wherever you want to upgrade your mug with bold, delicious flavors. Visit Flavia.com to shop the collection of machines and beverages now.
Hello.
Welcome to a brand new episode of your favorite podcast. You missed us. I know you did. Don't blame me.
You did. You heard us earlier on Monday. For what am I wrong? But
yeah, you wanted the gossip. You're like, I need to hear about the drama in other people's lives desperately. And that's what we're here to deliver for you today.
and we've got a good episode.
We do. You all have been writing in and submitting in wonderful things that we're so happy to give you advice on. And just know that, like, we might be like so beautiful and cool and composed. We can get a little wild. You can send us wild ones. You can send us. We do have
a show is founded on the wild ones.
No, I know, but like, what if people are like, what if they're coming in late and they're just like, whoa, no, like,
yeah, that's true, because they have been pretty tame lately.
Yeah, so like, this is just your friendly reminder that like we've only ever called the police one time, and like, did we even call the police, or did we call where they worked?
No, we called the police.
We called the police.
Yeah. Because where they worked was a temporary type job.
Yes. But their problem was terminal.
Yes.
Yeah. And just know, we don't even like the police. So that's how you know that like it only happened one time. And that's because like morally we were like, we have to. And we didn't play the call. So just know that all the things you've heard on this, all the crazy ones, there was one that was real wild.
A few people have asked us about the peanut butter incest sibling one. I don't remember that episode, and I feel like we probably didn't go into detail in the description of the episode with it because we would have got dinged. So if you know what this episode is, please let us know so that I can share with the people that have been asking.
I can give you a timeline. So it was when we were when I was in the mountains for the first time, when we were there during that time period.
During the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, so person that wrote in, I put you on the wrong time.
Oh, okay. So because I remember being at the mountain house, and we did not ever go to the mountain house until the pandemic started.
I mixed up incest stories.
Well, unfortunately, we've had more than one.
We've had multiple.
Yeah, and this one, if it helps, they've had an update because they ended the relationship with that person, and they got married, or like it was something. We got like a whole additional update from them later on.
Okay, so I just want to make sure
the update was in the mountains.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear here. So there was the one that I believe it was peanut butter with a dog.
Eating it. Yeah,
and
it was
then
her boyfriend.
Sister and mother both had weird relationships with the boyfriend too. Is that all the same call?
I think the mom died. I think they didn't have a relationship with the mom, but it was the sister put the peanut butter on her vagina and ate it. And like her and her brother and they just kept trying to like shrug it off as a trauma bond. And it was like, well, I don't want to be rude because like they had a very hard upbringing. And then we were like, totally, that is a trauma bond. We have all watched
yes.
How to Get Away with Murder.
I'm remembering. I'm also in my apartment. You guys wouldn't know, but it's my apartment upstairs. So I would have been against the wall. So it was during the pandemic. I do remember this now.
Yeah. But again, I think that was the original. I think that was the original.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the update I don't think I'm remembering the update being there. The update could have been there, but I think like the initial one was in the mountains. I'm like 99% sure. But if not, the update was. Without a doubt, like they were there.
Okay.
And I think we just have to search based on weird relationship. And it might have even been a twin sister.
Yeah. I put because Apple does automatically do transcriptions now. And I had put in the keyword for dog and I couldn't find it in that.
Mm-hmm.
I put in peanut butter and it didn't see it then. But also, like, if we're talking fast, it's not going to be accurate. So,
yeah. And also, if we're like beating around the bush, it might not be accurate. And also, like, I don't think they said it to us like in confidence, like off air.
No, because Diane remembers it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're also we're like very good at being like more cagey with information that people tell us than we're not very loose-lipped on that.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised.
Because we had blocked it out and Diane said, wait, you forgot this one.
Yeah, that was because we try. We try to forget it all the time.
Yep.
Well,
I said Diana.
Oh, well, we do have both.
Yes.
So
I also have Dianes and Dianas in my life as well.
My only other one is Princess Di.
Yeah.
You know, my cosmic soul sister.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so we're going to give you advice, wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice. If you want to call us, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. You can also just type out an email to that same address, send us a DM over on our Instagram, and we also have a form that you can fill out that's listed in the show notes, but it's also listed in the description of our socials. And in that, and, you know, the voice recording, all of it, we need you to be 18 or over, and we also need you to tell us how old you are. That's like the extent of the extreme personal details or quote unquote identifying details. We don't need to know your name. It is totally anonymous. You can use a voice changer if you would like, but we do need to know your age because it 100% influences the advice that we give you.
Also, if race is relevant, please include that.
Please. And also explicitly include it, because other times we'll be like, I'm pretty sure that this is what you are trying to mean. But if you are concerned, like we've had ones of people like, my boyfriend's family is racist. And we're like, okay, are you of the race that they are being racist again? Like, where do you stand in this? Or are they of a different race and you are of a totally different, like, what is that? Let us know the dynamics of that so we can give you the best advice. And yeah, tell us everything that is going on, what you specifically would like advice on. And you know, unless we really have to, we're not going to judge you. But also, if we do judge you, it's okay. We judge each other. We judge ourselves all the time. We're coming from a place of love. We want what's best for you. We want to help you out. And sometimes that is tough love. But if you need a gentle, sweet loving, tell us that you're sensitive. We keep that in mind.
Also, just want to reiterate, it is 300 words or less. We've been getting a lot of write-ins lately where they're very much in the 1,000-word area. So please, and I've been emailing y'all to condense it. So please just make sure you're doing that. 300 words is a lot of time. As someone who is a professional writer, 300 words is a lot.
And if you want to get your like personality across and be funny, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to record it with your voice so you can get more of those words in. Like, it's really okay if it's just like straightforward. It doesn't have to be like a piece of comedy gold. You can just like tell us a situation. If you really want to be like, no, I need them to hear my tone when I say that.
Then call.
Then call. You can get in a lot more words if you can talk quite fast.
As you know.
Who, me? Shall we hop into the first?
Let's do it. Hi, wise geniuses. I am an international grad student and I finally found my master bedroom. My lovely quiet roommates are moving out and I need to find 2 new people by July. The rooms are on the more expensive side though. The house is very nice and everyone has their own bathroom. How would you approach this task? I'm hopefully staying in school for 3 more years and want to find someone long term. I don't want to be too close with roommates, but still be able to share common spaces, not awkwardly. What are the things to ask potential tenants? And where is the best place to look? I found this place in my uni/city Facebook group, and we go to different schools with my current roommates. I can also send an email to the department about rooms. Another thing is that my previous roommate situation ended badly, and I'm actually not sure if I was wrong. I believe 2 of them expressed some issues about me to the landlord, and then the third one pushed it to the point where I had to move out. In any case, I appreciate some advice on how to approach relationships with housemates and bring some structure to this arrangement and resolve in case of tension. Additionally, I have a mischievous dog. Before moving to the U.S., I lived in an undergrad dorm and then had a whole apartment for myself and an ex for a couple years. Mistake. I'll be responsible for paying rent. I'm queer femme and also a Leo. Love you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. I would have loved to know what the roommate past situation ending was. Like, not sure if you were in the wrong. Like, I would have loved to know a little more details about that because
I feel like you probably were if
that's what I'm wondering.
Landlord had to step in.
Yeah. So I've got questions about that because, like, you seem open to the possibility that you could have been in the wrong and that you, like, don't want to do those kinds of mistakes again. But my thing was, like, well, what was the disagreements with those old roommates over? And are you like, okay, I'm going to be more chill, or I'm not going to have, I've relinquished those feelings I had about that thing for this next thing? Or is it like, I'm searching for roommates who aren't going to have those feelings about what happened?
And was that in your current place or a place before?
I assume
it felt like it would be a place before because you say you got kicked out. So yeah, it's not the current place.
Yeah. So I would like to know, is it like, what are you taking from that situation? Like, I think you do. I think really before you get new roommates, you need to confidently figure out if you were in the wrong or not, because it needs to be a learning lesson. It either needs to be a way to filter out roommates where you do not mesh with them, or to adjust your expectations and your standards of living to, like, to prevent that from happening again, if you can take responsibility and onus of it. So without knowing what that is, that's hard. But, like, I'm going to say point blank, you have to figure out who was in the wrong. And we are more than happy if you want to write back in. We're more than happy to help you parse that together. Because I think
and do that on our other show. But am I wrong?
There you go. Because I want to, like, to me, I'm like, that is like a crucial part of this, because I also think that finding people who on paper, the situation of having 2 other roommates who don't go to your school, I think that's not a bad call, just because, like, the more time you spend with them, especially if you're not looking to be friends with them, if you are in the same department, if you're at the same school, all of that kind of stuff, like, there can even be more competition. Like, it just adds in other factors. So I think that finding people who are also, like, you know, similar-ish age range, who are maybe going to school somewhere else or doing whatever. But I would say to kind of be dead set or ideally looking for something that is a long-term thing, I don't really think you can do that unless you have roommates that you are friends. Like, I don't encourage living with friends, but, like, you only really kind of make that or plan for a longer-term commitment with people you already know. Right.
And I'm sure that your landlord probably is the one that sets the limitations. Like, you can't, unless the lease is completely under you, and then like you're subletting. So, yeah. But I think a year, especially if they're students, it should be by school year, not by we're going to be stuck here for 3 years. Because what if they're a grad student that's, like, in their last year and then they're moving away, but they would have been good for now?
Or, like, it could be in, like, an intern, like an exchange student, someone who's on an exchange program. Like, there are so many options, especially at, like, a big university. There are so many ways to go about that, like, you also don't necessarily want to limit it to post-grad. I think, right. Like, limiting it to
I would limit it to, like, seniors, though, because
I would limit to people who are over 21.
Yeah, upperclassmen.
Yeah, because I don't think
because it could be a non-traditional student.
Totally.
That started later than the average. But
yeah,
I wouldn't get a freshman in there. That's not the vibe.
It's also, I don't think, responsible, because if they invite people over and they're underage drinking in a place that it sounds like your name is on the lease, because you're like, I'm responsible for paying the rent. And then it seems like you're finding these roommates. So I wouldn't live with anybody who is underage. And I think that, like, as in, like, where to ask.
You gave us plenty of options. I think those are the best options.
Yeah, like, but where to post this kind of
it needs
stuff.
Like, school. your department. You can reach out to other schools that are in the same area and ask them to send out a blast, find their housing department, have them, or maybe non-traditional and the grad student departments, and have them sending out housing because they're going to be focused more on dorms. So, I wouldn't post on like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or unless it's like a Facebook group where it's specific for the schools.
Yeah. And like, I would say that, I don't know. Well, no, that's identifying. I would also say that like, do not live with a couple. Don't live with a couple. Have it be like individual people. And, you know, if it's like awkward or whatever, there's like kind of a learning curve. And then to figure out like what to ask about, like, oh, how do you like mesh or get along? What's your living style? Like, what was your like previous, like, because here's the thing, like, if I was getting a new roommate, I would probably ask like, oh, what was your last living situation like? And like, have you ever had like a bad roommate situation? And what was that? And I think
how did you handle?
Yeah. And I think you need to be able to answer that question. And so for all of that, it's just a matter of, right now, it doesn't sound like you have made a decision about how that went down. So I could understand why you might be feeling a little bit like lost and confused about like, oh, how do I, like, what should I ask? How do I figure this out? You just need to mesh, you need to vibe, and you also need to be able to take responsibility for things that were your fault. And then also you should not take responsibility for things that are not on you. Like, so being clear and concise about that. And then it's just about for me, I think the most important is, are you in a relationship? Do you have a significant other that you're inviting over? I think that you should make sure that who did you vote for? Like, do you feel safe in a home with adding these people in?
Especially also with where you're from too. That would be a very vital question to ask.
And like, what's your typical like weekends? Like, how late do you stay? Like, how early do you wake up? How late do you go to bed? Like, things of just like, okay, noise level. How many bodies are you bringing into this apartment and how often? And like, do you like to cook? Do you like, how are chores divided up in your last place?
What's your definition of clean and tidy? How do you like to keep, like, when and where are you cooking? What time do you wake up? What time do you go to sleep? Even the last time I had a roommate, my roommate got up at 5 o'clock every morning, and she either left to ride her bike, or she had this, because she was like a triathlon person.
Whoa, new lore just dropped. She was a triathlon person? Wow.
Yeah. She also had this thing that if it was like cold or rainy outside, she would clip it on the back of her actual bike, and it would turn it into a bike thing.
Stationary.
Yes. And I could hear it in the morning.
Of course you could.
Yeah. Do you like to like hang out in the living room? Are you more like in your room? Do they have an aversion to certain scents and smells?
Allergy. Yeah. Like,
allergies.
Definitely peanut allergy. And if that's like a comfort food for like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would also ask, like, what shows do you like to watch? Because you saying like you want to be able to be in like the communal spaces without it like being awkward. It might be nice if like the extent of the closeness with your roommate is that like you both love White Lotus or whatever. Like you both like a show, like you both like a certain, and you watch that show once a week together, Bachelor, whatever the fuck it is. You watch that once a week together, and that's like the extent of it. Like that's it. I think like having something, and also if they say they like watch a lot of like TV and stuff, that might give you an indication. Like, are they, spend a lot of time in their room? Are they kind of that? And then I would also say like in your last place, or like what's your ideal responsibility division in a living situation? Like, is it that like one person has one chore that they do for the whole house that like is like, I take out everybody's trash, I do this? Or is it like, are you someone who likes to clean up after yourself? Or are you someone who likes to be like, okay, someone's going to cook dinner for everybody and then someone else is going to clean? So that just, what an ideal situation is. Because I think a lot of the time, like, especially at this age, like you might not have ever had a perfect situation, but like, well, I don't like this. And it's like, okay, well, in a dream world, what would you want?
Yeah, because I prefer it's just a business transaction. We just live in the same place. And I'm going to cook for myself. I'm going to clean up for myself. I don't want to know anything about your parents, your siblings, nothing. I don't want to know anything about you unless it affects me.
Mm-hmm. And that's fair.
Yeah.
So, and if you have to move again in a year, it happens.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into some more.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. We've talked about OneSkin before. Did you know your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s? Also called, what are they called, Melissa?
Zombie cells.
These cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid like they used to, and they start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There is an answer for these zombie cells, though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin.
Founded by an all-woman team of scientists, OneSkin is the first and only skin longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging, with their proprietary OS1 peptide. OS1 is scientifically proven to decrease lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and help with the thinning skin that often comes with age. Don't just take our word for it, though. They've got over 4,000 five-star reviews for their full line of face, body, sun, and travel-size products.
But if you want to take our word for it, know that we love them. We are using them constantly. The OS1, the way it goes on, so easy, so simple. You notice a huge difference with them, and your skin looks great.
Yeah, I have become a fan of the Rich Eye Cream because it's thick, but it's lightweight, and I can just easily use it as part of my routine.
OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started with 15% off using code BLAMEME at oneskin.co.
That's 15% off oneskin.co with code BLAMEME. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Invest in the health and longevity of your skin with OneSkin. Your future self will thank you. Is the state of the U.S. making you want to escape?
Yes. And you can take the first step and learn the language before you go. Who makes it easy, Melissa?
Babbel makes it easy.
We are so happy that we have a new sponsor. It is Babbel, and not to fangirl too hard. We begged Babbel. We said, Babbel, Babbel, we need you.
Our audience wants you and needs you and asked us, hey, who do you guys recommend for languages?
And we're happy to say it's Babbel.
Not only do sometimes I want to escape, but I also want to stay here and talk to the people here on the ground, especially in our state of California. So I want to brush up and make my Spanish stronger. I took Spanish throughout school. I took Spanish and French, but I really, really need to strengthen my Spanish. What about you?
Spanish is the language that I grew up in California. So that is like you said, from the time that I could talk, the names of different streets. It was so ingrained, handcrafted by over 200 language experts. Yeah, they are voiced by real native speakers.
Real people.
Oh, and they're built with science-backed cognitive tools like spaced repetition and interactive features to fit any learning style. I'm a big fan of Babbel games. This girl loves a game.
We both love games.
And the sentence building stuff. So having it be in a game format makes me feel, it doesn't make me feel like I'm learning. It doesn't make me feel like I'm being scolded in school. I'm just learning something new, but I'm mostly playing a game.
We want you to learn another language, so we're teaming up with Babbel to give you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/don'tblameme.
Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/don'tblameme, spelled BABBEL.com/don'tblameme.
Babbel.com/don'tblameme.
Rules and restrictions may apply. Fresh air, sunshine, and good food. That's what spring is all about. See how I didn't include spring cleaning in there? That's not my favorite. But one of our favorites is HelloFresh. We love HelloFresh. They make it easier to fit quick, home-cooked meals into your schedule every single week by curating delicious recipes. Like they have a pasta primavera, chicken Dijon, and pecan-crusted trout. Okay, fancy. As well as over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats. In 2025, they're evolving to fit every lifestyle by bringing customers even more convenience. And you know, we love convenience here. All without compromising on taste or the homemade quality. They've got new ready-made meals, which offer chef-crafted flavorful dishes that are ready in just, drumroll please, 3 minutes. Every HelloFresh meal uses high-quality ingredients, including seasonal fresh produce and proteins that travel from farm to your doorstep. Plus, the deliveries are super flexible, so you can pause or skip when you need. We have been huge fans of HelloFresh here for so long. You already know that. We love them. I have made so many delicious things. We recently had like a pork mushu lettuce wrap. Oh, when I tell you, it might be going in my personal HelloFresh Hall of Fame. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make this season even more delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/blameme10fm to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
We are back from our break and time for the next. So this is from someone who is 22. Hi, I am a longtime listener and would pretty please like some advice. I've entered a new era in my life, the oh so amazing entering the workforce era. For some context, I am a couple months out from graduating from my master's and have worked during my studies. Did my BS, which is Bachelor of Science, right? Mm-hmm. And MS back to back. Despite my wonderful resume and education, I have not been very lucky in the job application field. I've applied to about 70 jobs and only 3 have materialized into an interview with no offers. Besides being constantly rejected, I also don't feel efficiently supported by my network as they just don't get it. No one is in a similar situation, with most still studying and my partner is already working. To add on to this, I live in a country that I'm not originally from and only moved here to study. I've been working very hard to learn the language, but of course I'm not yet fluent. All of this converges to a general stress. Half of my support network is native to the country, so they can't relate to my immigration experience, my partner included, and my current bosses have not provided the best advice. And the other half are people still studying. I'm not saying that they're not being supportive, but it all feels very shallow and not helpful. But TBH, nothing short of offering me a job would even be helpful, haha. Ultimately, I'd love your advice on how not to drive myself more insane than now. I felt very overwhelmed, stressed, and demotivated, which hasn't helped with writing super inspiring motivation letters for applications. I'd really love to hear some tips or suggestions on how to overcome this feeling. Thank you.
First of all, you're not alone. I know it may seem like you're alone because the people around you aren't in the same boat, but they will be when they're done with school. But you're not alone. I've seen so many people, like they're keeping spreadsheets of how many jobs that they've applied for and if they've gotten a call back, they've gotten an interview, whatever. I would suggest, so you don't feel alone, maybe trying to find people that are in the same boat, even if it's online, on Reddit or TikTok. It will help you feel like you aren't, going a little stir crazy with this. But I think that when I've come across people that are either sending me, like wanting to work for me or wanting advice about going into the careers, they're not tailoring their applications to that specific job. They're sending out a lot of applications with the same thing for each one. And going through, look at the job description and tailor, because a lot of this is they're using AI to just knock out a lot of people. Finding the keywords in the job description and putting it not just on your resume, in your resume. You can also use at the bottom of your resume, if they're asking you to upload something, you put all the keywords from the job description and then change the font color to white, and it will make it show up more in the searches. And save it as a PDF. Don't save it as a Word document. But make sure you are tailoring every job application, every cover letter to that specific job. because you have a higher chance of getting that job. Also, when you're applying, see who the HR manager is. If it's like on LinkedIn or something, find that person, add them. I've given this advice before, add them to your network. If you're able to send them a note, say, hi, I saw that your company, say the name of the company, is hiring for this position, say what the position is. I have these skills that are specific to that job. I would be a great fit because, and give your specific credentials for that job. And I would love to set up a call or maybe a virtual coffee to discuss the job further. It helps. Anything you can do to get directly to the person who is actually hiring for that job will help you.
That's a good call. I would say they are going to use AI to filter out applicants. You should not use AI for your application. No. Like they are going to to think of, like Melissa said, like it needs to be catered and specific to this. Like even on something that like, to think like the numbers of it, no offense, like yes, 70 is a lot, but without knowing like the quality of the applications and all of that, like that's not, you shouldn't be discouraged by the sheer volume and number. And like the sheer volume of it does not necessarily mean that you are a perfect fit for all of these roles. You are what they are looking for, and they are rejecting you for something that like you can't figure out what it is. We get like people who are like pitching to be on the podcast where it's like so abundantly clear that they have used AI to try and make this tailored to us. And it's not working. It's not. You are so much better off with sending less applications, especially if it's things that they are asking more of you, which I don't like when they ask too much of you in a job application anyway. But if they are asking of you, are much better off to put the time and energy into like a very specifically curated one for that job than you are to do ones that don't ask as much of you and you just like send the same mass thing out over and over and over again. I will also say you are very young to have achieved the degrees that you have. So like 22, that's a lot of time people are graduating undergrad and you already have your bachelor's as well as your master's. And that to also, they're not supposed to pick you based on your age, but like that might feel a little, they might think of like the culture of the job.
Your graduation date.
Yeah. So I would say like the culture of the job might feel a little odd. And like the same way that like I would detach age-related things from your application. So it's like, I worked the whole time I was in college. Don't talk about college. Don't talk about college. Like you are well educated. You are well qualified, I'm sure, for these positions, but you are younger. You are younger, point blank. And that will also be used against you if you are too transparent about it, because people associate youngness with naivety. And like, that is something that you might not be naive at all in like the workplace. And like, I've had jobs and done all that stuff. You are new to the workforce. And like you said, you are entering the new workforce era. Pretend you've been there. Pretend you've been in it. Pretend you've done it. All of that. Like, don't lie, but don't identify your experience and tie it to something that people could look up your age and like figure out that like, oh, this reads or feels a little bit younger. But I think if like age, I mean, I don't know where you would be that they would make you say your age. You can't do that here.
That's illegal.
I don't know if a different country. I'm not, because they were like, they're not in their native country. True. So if it's something that doesn't have those same kind of regulations, it might suck, but you might need to, most of the time people straight out of college, and you didn't say what jobs you're applying to, but like most of the time people straight out of college are taking jobs that they are well overqualified for. And it might not be a career, but like, it's a job that starts you there. And at the end of the day, like I don't know anybody who is like freshly graduated, even though that like you did a lot more schooling in the sense that you got like you did a dual degree, that they all went, no one is at that same job anymore. And a lot of the time it's like you took the job that you could get and then you were continued applying to another job from there. You just have to get into the workforce and it will become easier to get jobs, like corporate jobs, depending on where you are. It will be easier once your foot's already in the door there. And so sometimes it also is, unfortunately, taking a job you were overqualified for.
And to add on that, and I don't want to be mean, but people that you did a dual degree, people are going to come in with that have that degree, typically are going to have more work experience than you do because they didn't go to school for their master's right after school. And so what's going to happen is that you do have a master's, but there might be people that have a bachelor's, but they have more work experience. And because of that, they're going to be more qualified for that position, unfortunately. So you might have to be, when you're initially looking at jobs that are for the bachelor's, but using you get in the door with that. You might get promotions faster because you have the master's, but you would have to come in with entry-level jobs that are just for bachelor degrees.
Yeah. Surprise and delight them with that. Like you need to set yourself above your, like you need to use, like Melissa, you need to use your master's to set you aside from the other applicants. Not that was a prerequisite for the applications, because you will be lacking job experience. And until you get into the workforce, as soon as you're in, it's a lot easier to get a recommend, all of those kinds of things. You know, I think a lot of time people who like do these degrees, which like kudos to you, really fucking hard. You think it takes you to like a separate fast track career wise, like once you get out, and you're not going to have to kind of like take a lower level job and do all that. Like, unfortunately, like it is still what happens. People want degrees and they want work experience, but like they want both. And then it's like, okay, well, is this enough? And it's like, well, no, maybe not yet. And like, it might suck. And like, you know, your peers and the fact that like there's not a lot of people who can relate to you because of the fact that they are younger and they're doing all this kind of stuff. You can't burn yourself out to a reward. Like if you when you work this hard to be like, okay, cool. Now I get to like kick back. Unfortunately, that like does not happen. And I think if you go into a job with like the same, like I will bleed out for this mentality that you kind of have to get a dual degree by 22, you will just burn yourself out even more. And like you will not get rewarded for that. So I think it's about like, you know, finding a community that you can like commiserate with and knowing that like it's all like a steps and a means to an end. Similarly, like that classes are and credits are to graduation, like that your first job will be like that, even though you put all this work in it beforehand. Like that work, it will pay off. It's not going to pay off right now.
Right.
It's going to take a while. Don't you love me saying all of that without having a single degree?
But you have work experience.
No, I do. I'm chock full of work experience. I don't even have my high school diploma because I spelled California wrong and I don't think I ever got a new one.
But you still have it. Just because you don't physically have it, you still have.
From high school.
Yes. Okay.
We're going to take a quick break and we will be back.
If you've ever shopped online, and let's face it, who hasn't? Chances are you've bought something from a business powered by Shopify. You know that purple Shop Pay button you see at checkout? The one that makes buying so incredibly easy? That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes things easier, and not just for shoppers. They make it easy to start and run your business. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. It gives you a leg up from day dot with hundreds of beautiful ready-to-go templates to express your brand style so you can get up and running fast. You can tackle your important tasks from inventory to payments to analytics and more, all in one place. You can also spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools built for you to find and keep new customers. And remember that iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already know and love it. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/realm. Go to shopify.com/realm. Shopify.com/realm.
Hey besties, listen up. I have a secret to tell you. LinkedIn now has improved the job search experience for nurses. Search by your specialty, the shifts you want to work, and the salary that you want to make. With so many employers hiring on LinkedIn, finding the perfect job is even more simplified. So don't spend months searching. Go to linkedin.com/nurses and find out why in the past year, more than 1.5 million nurses have used LinkedIn to search for their next role. That's linkedin.com/nurses.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
And we're back.
Time for the next.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'm a listener since 2019, but it's my first time writing in. I need advice about how to get back into having sex, particularly how to tell a partner that it's been a while. I'm 23, bisexual woman, have not had sex in over 2 years since I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, who I dated for 2 years. Before I dated him, I had only had sex twice with men. Needless to say, 99% of my sexual experiences have been with my ex. We had a very intense relationship, so it took me a long time to get over him. I've only been on a few random dates here and there since we broke up. Recently, I felt much more inspired to start going out on dates and talking to people on apps, which I have been. It's making me start to worry about when it comes to the bedroom eventually on a date, how to mention that I haven't had sex in a long time. I definitely would want to let them know in some way because it would make me feel more comfortable. But I would worry about making it awkward or how to bring it up. Any advice in general for getting back in sexual activity after a long hiatus? Also, as of right now, this is hypothetical and not about a particular person. There is a guy I went out with I do want to sleep with, but IDK if he's interested, so it hasn't gotten there yet. It's also worth mentioning that I haven't dated a woman in 7 years and haven't had sex with a woman, making that even bigger hurdle for me. If anyone has any advice on that, thank you, ladies.
I would love to know why telling someone you had a break from sex would make you feel more comfortable. Like, do you feel pressure?
For me. Like during the pandemic, after the pandemic when I hadn't had sex in a while. I was going to say,
everybody was like, yeah, bitch, me fucking do.
Yeah. I would if I would just be like, hey, it's been a long time for me and leave it at that. Like it was just a thing. Clothes were already off.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, hey, I haven't had sex in a long time. Just because.
If you think if you're bad?
Not that. Just things tightening back up.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Physical comfortability. Okay, that makes a lot more. Because I was because I also think that now that, because I was going to say, I was part of that, I've taken taken long breaks from dating and that also was sleeping with people. And so I just oh yeah, I took a big break from dating.
Yeah.
And so for that, I, in general, people just would infer that it would be yeah, you haven't slept with anyone in a while and you've been focusing on something else. But if you're talking about a physical comfortable, yeah, you then talk about the fact that no, some things attached to people have not been coming in and out.
Yeah. And, my home devices, my sex toys, they do not equate a penis.
No.
And so to be more comfortable, I would just say it.
Yeah, it's
sense. For me, it wasn't a big deal. I am a little bit older than you, so it might just be because, people are more comfortable talking about sex when they're older, but you just say it. And then if you need them to be slow, then we need to take this slower, whatever. But just say how you're feeling in the moment. I've never had anybody be oh, I'm out, or I'm going to disregard you in your feelings for that. Because if that's the case, I never would have wanted to be with them anyway.
Yeah. So that makes total sense to me. I think if it's about that, if it's about a physical aspect of that, then yeah, bring it up before you just when making out. Things are starting. If you are wanting to say it when you're on a date with someone ahead of time, are you wanting to say it because you are worried about what? What is your concern there? And also, I would ask myself, what's your concern? Why do you want to tell them? If it's not for a physical aspect that you would say right before, what's your concern and what response are you looking for them to have? Because like a lot of the time, like if we have an expectation of how we want someone to respond to it, like there are bad ways, like you said, like there are ways that you're like, yeah, this is a no-go way if you responded. But like, are there ways that he could, or sorry, not he. And well, you said in this hypothetical, there's a guy. Is there a way that he could respond that isn't like an automatic deal breaker, but like isn't what you like would want? Like think about what reaction you want from that. Like, because I do think in general, it's a personal choice. It's a thing that you do. But like, if there's only bad reactions that you don't want to have, and that's how you're ruling it out. But if there is an ideal reaction, is it possible that you're going to get that every time? No. And then at that point, I would be like, maybe you're trying to have this be more representative of something and have this be a bigger sign of something that someone doesn't know that they're in a test. They don't know that there's like a right and a wrong answer. Well, there's always a wrong answer, but like that there is a correct way for them to go about it and what to say. Because if one of the answers that you might ask yourself is like, well, I'm hoping that maybe they aren't super experienced. That's a totally different conversation.
Yes.
That's a really different conversation. Or if you're hoping that, you know, it will be represented that they know that you're not someone who like wants to like, you know, sleep around casually. Totally a different conversation. Like it cannot be representative of like something else that you are looking for or something else you're trying to rule out. So yeah, I would say that. Or if you're feeling like insecure about the fact that like, oh, well, maybe I'm not good at sex. If you're having sex with men, you know?
Yeah. So
you're having like, I think coming into, in general, anything that you've decided to like make a choice to pursue in life, you need to go into it with confidence. And if you need external validation to feel that confidence, I think you got to work on the confidence first.
Right. Also bring lube. You're going to need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm also kind of a believer in this. Might make me, I don't know, people can have feelings about it. I'm like not really big on talking about like a lot of sexual things before we've had any sort of physical closeness or intimacy there. Like, I just think that like it can make people weird. Like we can be like flirty, but like I don't want to like meet you on an app and like start talking dirty to each other like immediately. Like that's just not the vibe. So I think
unless you're just trying to fuck.
Exactly. But like, I think if this is like, if it's not that situation, I would avoid bringing up sex things early on. Cause I just think that like men don't know how to handle that. Like it's a weird thing that they do. And yeah, I would also like, we have a lot of people who sleep with women and date women, marry women in our group. If they have advice for that aspect of it, I think like
the last time you were with a woman, you were a child.
Totally. And I think like, I really think that after like a long break from like dating and sex, like is like the perfect time to be like, hey, I'm feeling like I don't have my sea legs for sleeping with men. I don't feel like I have my sea legs for sleeping with women. Like if you feel like you're at a place of like, I'm not starting from ground zero, but like if you are feeling like a little bit like nervous and shy and inexperienced, then like maybe lean into the thing that like this is the first time that playing field right now has been like somewhat even. And if that's like something that you would be interested in, I think like it's a great time to explore that for you, because like right now it sounds like you're nervous anyway. And sometimes being nervous is like it's a fun and exciting sort of a thing. And leaning into that can like, I don't know, you can have like really great results and progress in your life.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into Don't Blame Them.
Out having fun, but the background noise makes hearing impossible? Your friend just cracked a joke, but you completely missed it.
And then, like, immediately ordered tacos.
Discover Nuance Audio, the new invisible hearing solution that's built into your glasses. Discreet, comfortable, and easy to use. Nuance Audio glasses help you hear better and reduce annoying background noise so you can focus on the conversations that matter. Find a store near you at nuanceaudio.com.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
We are back, and it's time for Don't Blame Them. Don't Blame Them is where someone writes in or calls in with their own advice pertaining to something we had on a previous episode. You can fill out the form and do that if you want to for an upcoming episode, or you can just, again, call us, send us an email, and they are giving personal experience or professional experience, something that we might not have touched on, just to help that original caller get some more advice. This person is 29, she, her. Hi, writing in for the Don't Blame Me Meet the Parents episode for the Mistake at Work write-in. Meghan and Melissa's advice was spot on. Your work should have done their due diligence and had at least a second set of eyes on the data before it was published. I work with large data sets of healthcare information, parentheses, I am getting my PhD in epidemiology, and also had recent distress related to attention forgetfulness that I'd never experienced before. In addition to, and to emphasize M&M's advice, automate as much of the data process as you can. If you use coding software, first make sure to always keep a copy of the original raw file and make a new file to do any data cleaning. Use code to directly export your results into a spreadsheet. That way there's no room for error with this step. In Excel, if you need to merge multiple outputs, use the Power Query, Google for a step-to-step guide. With a full data set, use pivot tables to automate. I feel like so smart. Mm-hmm. Use pivot tables to automate filtering, count, percentage calculations, basic analysis, and any potential subgroup information you might need to extract. And yes, absolutely look up the formulas you need. I learned how to quote unquote hack Excel all through online forums and YouTube videos. But to reiterate, this is definitely a management issue. In my work, we've at least one person review the code for a project and check that the data entry into the report was done correctly. Even sometimes different people for each step. Also multiple rounds of feedback and copy editing before anything becomes publicly available. It is so easy to make mistakes when staring at spreadsheets all day, especially on a screen. So don't be too hard on yourself. I often want to throw my computer out the window after a long day. Wonderful. Amazing. That made me feel like really smart. I felt like I was in a vocabulary quiz.
You were using those words.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring all those words up to Mott's tonight at dinner. Mm-hmm. I'll be like, what? I'll be like, data entry, pivot. Pivot. Well, that's it.
That is it.
We hope you all enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for calling in actually, these were all write-ins. Thank you so much for writing in. You can call in for other episodes. You can also keep writing in. We gave you all of the information about how to participate in the show. We also do a video version of this podcast on Patreon. You can watch it ad-free there. We also do live streams twice a month. Make some new friends. You're moving to a new city. You've moved to a new city. You got out of a bad roommate situation. You are someone who likes to travel and you're looking to make international friends who will let you sleep on their couch. We have those. There are so many fun people. And I don't know why I've been recently thinking about it, maybe because there's been a lot of crows in our neighborhood recently. But one of my favorite Patreon stories has been the fact that one of our patrons, can I name check her?
I don't know the story that you're telling.
It's Soraya. I feel like I could always name check Soraya.
Yeah.
One of our patrons who's not American. We were talking, somehow we got to the topic of sunroofs and cars. And she was fully convinced that the reason why we had sunroofs was so we could get the sunlight, but we needed to protect our heads because eagles would fall out of the sky. Mm-hmm. And we had to be like, no. Eagles do not fly in the sky like pigeons or like birds. We also
don't really see eagles unless we go to maybe a zoo.
An endangered species. Yes. And also our birds fall out of the sky just as much as the birds in anywhere else in the country. Yes. And it is not...
Or the world.
Truly. And it is not a big ordeal. And it's truly, I don't know if that has ever happened. The only issue I've ever had with birds and glass is we have hummingbirds and we have regular not hummingbirds, but we have a couple trees that have that kind of nectar. When they drink it, they get drunk, and then they just keep banging their head into the window. That's it. But I've been thinking about that lately as I've been seeing birds being like, hope it doesn't fall on that person. Hope it doesn't fall on top of their car. And I was like, oh, that'd be so. Mostly also because I've been opening my sunroof lately, being like, glad I have this in case a bird falls. Yeah, specifically in case a bald eagle falls.
Yes. Oh, well, join us tomorrow for Fisting Friday, where we just catch up, usually talk about TV shows. Maybe I'll be caught up with Poker Face by then.
A lot. Actually, no, it's not. We've watched it back to back, so I forgot that we just started season 2.
Yeah, probably not. But, I got a lot of work to do these days. And then on Monday, we've got But Am I Wrong? That's when people write in and ask if they're wrong in the situation. We also rant or share things from our own lives where we might be wrong. And at the end of the episode, we nominate a Wrong of the Week. On Tuesday, so let's see you next Tuesday, where we have votes for But Am I Wrong? We share those results. People can also write in with their own thoughts, and we'll share those as well. Wednesday, use that to listen to an old episode. Use it to maybe comment on old episodes too, that it'll pop up for us. We'll see the comments on Spotify. And then Thursday, we'll be back here for another episode of Don't Blame Me. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
I'm Amy Nicholson, the film critic for the LA Times.
And I'm Paul Scheer, an actor, writer, and director. You might know me from The League, Veep, or my non-eligible for Academy Award role in Twisters.
We love movies, and we come at them from different perspectives.
Yeah, like Amy thinks that, Joe Pesci was miscast in Goodfellas, and I don't.
He's too old. Let's not forget that Paul thinks that Dune 2 is overrated.
It is.
Anyway, despite this, we come together to host Unspooled, a podcast where we talk about good movies, critical hits,
fan favorites, must-sees, and in case you missed them.
We're talking Parasite to Home Alone.
From Grease to The Dark Knight.
We've done deep dives on popcorn flicks. We've talked about why Independence Day deserves a second look.
And we've talked about horror movies, some that you've never even heard of, like Ganja and Hess.
So if you love movies like we do, come along on our cinematic adventure.
Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to hit the follow button.
Can you actually change your personality if you want to? How does peer pressure work, and why is it so powerful? Should you ever really trust your gut when you make a big decision? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and each episode of Something You Should Know covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. You'll discover things you can use in your life today, right now, like how to have a great conversation, how to be more courageous, the anatomy of the perfect apology, and much, much more. To date, there are over 1,000 episodes of Something You Should Know, and we've gotten over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. Something You Should Know, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.